Tonight on KGW News, aging out of foster care.
A lot of the time, the youth aren't quite ready for those services to just drop off.
The program making sure Oregon teens don't slip through the cracks as they transition out of the system.
And later, emotional testimony as romance novelist Nancy Crampton Brophy takes the stand.
It's like, yeah, I function, but there's something missing.
Her take on her marriage, their financial troubles, and why she bought a ghost gun. But first,
she opened the door and I guess he just pushed himself right in. And
a burglar forces his way into a Hood River home, tying up an 89-year-old woman inside.
She was pretty upset, pretty shook up.
Your news starts now.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter.
And I'm David Mulco. That terrifying home invasion was one in a string of crimes, and police say the Gresham man behind them is now himself behind bars. Catherine Cook went to Hood River to find out what happened.
You just don't think about this. It's a community of older people.
In Hood River, neighbors at the Mid-Columbia Mobile Estates are reeling over what police say happened here last Tuesday. That includes Dale Davis.
Oh yeah, we're still talking about it. And some of the other ones saying they're going to get security cameras now.
At around 1:40 Tuesday afternoon, Hood River County Sheriff's deputies responded to a burglary at a home in this retirement community. Inside, they found an 89-year-old woman bound to a chair with electrical tape.
It's one of those ones that shocks the conscience, right? Somebody of that age being preyed upon in that way is disturbing to anybody in the community. And
Hood River County Patrol Sergeant Joel Ives says the suspect, 51-year-old Kevin McCallum of Gresham, had forced his way into the victim's home. Court documents say he threatened her with a taser and appeared to have used mascara to draw a goatee on himself. After that burglary, investigators say he broke into the home next door. No one was there at the time.
Court documents say the suspect actually knew the owners of the second home he broke into. Investigators learned he'd met their son in prison.
Well, from what I understand, was somebody was on drugs. So I thought they had money. That's what he was here for.
On Thursday, after a multi-agency investigation, the U.S. Marshals arrested McCallum in Gresham.
we certainly wanted to get him into custody as soon as possible, especially since he wasn't local.
He's lodged in the Northern Oregon Regional Correctional Facility on multiple charges, including kidnapping, coercion, and burglary. As for the victim,
she was pretty upset, pretty shook up.
Dale says she's doing as good as she can be.
Went over and gave her a hug and told her I was sorry it happened to her.
In Hood River, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
What a disturbing story. I'm glad she's okay. Okay, let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines. We now know the name of the suspect accused of shooting at a passing car in the Lentz neighborhood last week. 29-year-old Kaylin Duffy now faces several charges, including attempted murder and assault. You know, we reported this on breaking news on this very newscast on Wednesday. The shots fired on Southeast Flavel Street near the Springwater Corridor Trail. Duffy also suffered a gunshot wound. It remains unclear who shot him. No one else was hurt.
Portland police need your help finding whoever vandalized this decades-old church overnight. Someone spray-painted several disturbing phrases on the south side of the Maranatha Church in Northeast Portland. The pastor is calling it a hate crime. This happened between late Sunday evening and early Monday morning. Somebody also sawed off and stole the catalytic converter on a church van, but police aren't sure if the crimes are related.
And tonight's Oregon Symphony concert was canceled due to COVID-19. This was after multiple symphony members tested positive. Tonight's show was supposed to be the last of 3 performances of Mahler's Symphony No. 9. Now, ticket holders are going to be contacted to discuss refund options. Right now, the symphony's next performance is scheduled for this coming Saturday.
Did you kill Dan Brophy?
No, I did not.
Nancy Crampton Brophy denied killing her husband as she took the stand in her own defense today. The romance novelist is accused of murdering Dan Brophy at the Oregon Culinary Institute in 2018. She was on the stand all day. Here's part of her latest testimony and cross-examination.
But the thing I probably liked the best about him, he loved me. And if that isn't a big number one item, I don't know what is.
Nancy Crampton Brophy spent much of her first day on the stand detailing her love for her husband, Dan. She also admitted the two had gone through some financial turmoil starting in 2014.
It was a series of things happened that all came together at the wrong moment.
But she said they had figured things out and were in a good place by the end of 2017. The prosecution has claimed Crampton Brophy killed Dan to collect on life insurance. During cross-examination, she said they took out life insurance policies as a kind of savings account.
Because I know I'm not a saver, and if I can put this money away where I can't get to it, we will have it later on when we need it. If we're just doing a savings account or we're investing in the stock market, I'm not good like that.
Crampton Brophy also told the courtroom about buying a ghost gun kit as research for a book.
I knew nothing about guns. And so what I was trying to do, if I'm going to write a story on building a gun, I got to learn a lot about guns in the time frame that I have.
On the day of the shooting, Nancy said she was in bed writing when she got a call that something had happened at the Oregon Culinary Institute, and she immediately tried calling her husband.
She said, it's on the news. And I said, okay. So the whole time I'm dialing Dan, I'm flipping channels on the news to see if I can see anything at all that tells me what's going on.
When asked about the surveillance video from police that showed her in her van in front of the school around the time of the murder, she said she couldn't believe it.
I'm looking at this and thinking, oh man, I'm now losing my mind, because that's what you think. You think, how can this have happened and me not remember this? How am I sitting here in a vehicle and have absolutely no memory of how I got there?
The prosecution plans to continue cross-examination tomorrow. You can read much more about today's testimony and follow tomorrow's developments on KGW.com.
It's absolutely riveting there. Okay, we are less than an hour away from Election Day in Oregon. Thousands of ballots are already pouring into places like Clackamas County, though. Speaking of Oregon City, there is a big problem with the way some of them were printed, one that could significantly delay the results. So tonight on The Story, Pat Doris took an in-depth look.
A problem with the barcodes on the ballots in Clackamas County is causing nearly 2/3 of them to be kicked out and not counted by the vote counting machines. The county clerk runs elections there and told me that the problem is with specifically the barcodes that are printed on the ballots. They're not quite dense enough, she said, and a tad blurry, leading the counting machines to spit them out.
Well, I'm really sorry it happened, because we really want to build trust in voters. But because it happened, we had to come up with a solution, which I think the one we have is really the only one we can do.
There are likely tens of thousands of ballots affected there in Clackamas County. Here's the fix. 2 workers, one from each party, are now having to fill out brand new ballots by hand, make sure they're identical to the ballot that was rejected by the machine, then feed it back in to be counted. It is a tedious process that adds time to the entire production. Clackamas County added 37 more workers from other departments to help out. By our calculation, though, the barcode issue could add a couple of days to the effort to get a final vote tally there in Clackamas County. Anytime there's a flaw like this, it raises concerns over how secure our elections are. We took a close look at the steps Oregon takes to ensure that your vote counts. You can watch our entire report now on KGW's YouTube channel. Just look for the Stories section.
And we'll be keeping an eye how it goes in Clackamas. Be sure to stay with KGW tomorrow evening for complete coverage and analysis as the results come in. Laurel and I are going to be hosting a special streaming show that starts at 7:30 on KGW.com. And that wraps up, of course, with full coverage on KGW News at 11. A quick reminder, if you have your ballot but haven't voted yet, yes, there is still time to do it.
Yeah, get those ballots in. Coming